What if the way you fall asleep is the way your soul returns to itself? They told you sleep was the end of the day, but what if it's the beginning of who you become? Tonight, I invite you into something deeper than sleep, a sacred pause, a 3-minute gate that stands between who you were and who you will be. This isn't about fixing your life with one more habit. It's about remembering your power to shape your frequency before you dissolve into dreams. Because your body may rest, but your soul, it listens, it remembers, it reorders. And right now, as your head touches the pillow, you're either feeding the roots of tomorrow or recycling the wounds of yesterday. Let's begin at the first forgetting, the invisible belief tomorrow will be better as escape from the now. You whisper to yourself, tomorrow I'll feel different. Tomorrow I'll finally rest. Tomorrow I'll be more kind to myself. But darling, do you hear it? That voice isn't hope, it's hesitation. It's a kind of self-abandonment dressed in optimism. Tomorrow will be better is only medicine if it doesn't poison the present. When you fall asleep without honoring your current truth, you plant intentions into dry soil. The mind might drift off, but the unconscious never sleeps. It latches onto your last emotion like ink onto a page. And what it carries into the night is what you wake up breathing. So tell me, when you say, I'll deal with this tomorrow, are you giving yourself grace, or are you running from what needs your presence now? You see, the soul is an honest guest. If you ignore her cries before bed, she won't forget them come dawn. She'll whisper them into your mood. She'll weave them into your dreams. She'll echo them through your nervous system the moment you wake up. Sleep does not erase what you refuse to face. It amplifies it. It buries it in symbols. It replays it in your inner world on repeat. Imagine this. Imagine closing your eyes not in escape, but in sacred awareness. 3 minutes, 3 breaths, 3 truths spoken inwardly with tenderness. Instead of collapsing into exhaustion, you land softly into yourself, like a priestess returning to her temple. I see you, feeling woman. I will not abandon you tonight. What you feel is real, and it is worthy of reverence. This is how you stop recycling the past. This is how you begin sleeping forward. Quotable truth. The unconscious doesn't care about what you avoided. It only remembers the vibration you fell asleep with. So what are you handing to the night? Fear? Guilt? Or truth? Your ritual doesn't need to be perfect. It only needs to be present. They say the brain goes quiet when we sleep, but the truth is far more mystical and more intimate. Your mind doesn't stop. It rewires. It reshapes. It remembers how you made it feel. In those first silent minutes after your eyes close, your subconscious takes notes, not of your to-do lists, but of your emotional atmosphere. And then the rewiring begins. Neuroscience has a name for this: nighttime neuroplasticity. Your neural circuits, the electric highways of who you are, don't freeze when you fall asleep. They reform, they reconnect, they build new paths. And what do they use as blueprint? The last emotional tone you offered them. Let that sink in. If you fall asleep angry, your neural forest grows thorns. If you drift off in shame, your brain replays the movie of your failures, even in dreams. But if, just if, you pause before sleep and breathe intention into those final 180 seconds, you open the gate to new synaptic stories. You create space for a different version of you to emerge, one who isn't looping through yesterday's wounds, but is gently planting the future in the soil of the present. The 3-minute frequency shift. 3 minutes, that's all it takes. Not hours of journaling, not forced affirmations, just 180 seconds of honest emotional realignment. Sit in silence, place a hand on your heart, and feel the truth that wants to be acknowledged. I'm not broken, I'm in process. I've carried too much, but I can choose differently now. This body deserves peace before it rests. These are not just poetic phrases. They are emotional signals to the nervous system, and your brain responds. Night after night, your brain builds from what you give it. As Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, your personality creates your personal reality. And every time you fall asleep with a new emotional state, you are rehearsing a new version of yourself into being. This is not wishful thinking, it's embodiment. It's biology braided with spirit. And women who sleep consciously don't just heal, they become. They don't collapse at the end of the day. They initiate the next chapter of their story. And it all starts with a whisper before sleep. Imagine this visual. A woman sits at the edge of her bed. She touches her chest, eyes closed, face soft. The chaos of the day still hums in her body, but she no longer fights it. She simply breathes. This is what I have to offer tonight. This is where I begin again. And her brain listens, not to the words, but to the emotion behind them. And so, without her even knowing it, a new woman is born while she sleeps. You were taught to see the bed as a finish line, a place where everything stops, the end of your to-do list, the closing curtain on another exhausting performance. But what if we were taught wrong? What if the moment you lay down is not when things end, but when your soul begins? You see, the body sleeps, the world fades, the lights go out, but the soul, she stirs. She begins her most delicate labor when the world is no longer watching. She sifts through memories. She reweaves meanings. She chooses which version of your story to carry into the next dawn. You think you're asleep, but something deep within you is wide awake. While you rest, your inner narrator gets to work. She's the keeper of your self-perception, the weaver of your emotional logic. She doesn't need conscious approval. She listens instead to your final vibration and uses it as thread. If you fall asleep believing you're not enough, she writes that into your identity. If you drift off with despair in your chest, she files it under truth. But if you pause just long enough to speak to her before you cross into sleep, you redirect the plot line. You seed a new inner script. You rewrite the energy that dreams will amplify. Sleep is the anvil. You are the iron. This is not poetic fantasy. This is the intimate physics of self-creation. When you surrender to sleep, your ego dissolves. The guards at the gate of logic fall asleep, and the soul, the raw, ancient part of you, has full access to the blueprint of your being. This is when you are most open, most reprogrammable, most real. And how you enter that space is how you shape what you become in the silence. The forging begins. Imagine a blacksmith working in total darkness. No one sees him. No one hears the hammer. But with every strike, something invisible takes form. That's your soul at night. That's the soundless ritual she performs with the material you gave her right before your eyes closed. Anger, she molds that. Resentment, she folds it into your armor. Peace, she etches it into your spine. You don't sleep to escape the day. You sleep to become the woman who knows how to begin again. Let this truth echo. You don't fall asleep to end the day. You fall asleep to write the first chapter of who you'll be tomorrow. So tonight, when your body wants to collapse, ask yourself, do I want to carry this energy into my becoming? Because the soul doesn't need hours to transmute. She just needs 3 sacred minutes where you stop and feel. There's a forge in the unseen, and whether or not you acknowledge it, your soul is always working, shaping, heating, striking metal that no one else can see. But here's the sacred truth. The tools she uses are emotional. The raw materials, your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, especially the unspoken ones. Imagine this, a blacksmith in a moonlit cave, hammering not weapons, but archetypes, not armor, but identity. And what she creates, you will wear the next morning as a way of being. You may think nothing happens at night, but you wake up different, don't you? Some days you rise heavy with old shame clinging to your ribs. Other days you wake clear, as if some invisible architect tore down a wall inside you while you dreamed. That wasn't random. It was your inner blacksmith at work. And what she forged depended entirely on what you gave her to work with. So now the question is, what will you hand her tonight? Because here's the beauty and the power. You are not at the mercy of your subconscious. You are its author. And the most potent moment to reshape its narrative is just before sleep, when the veil is thinnest, when logic surrenders, when emotion becomes sacred ink. We move now into the quietest and most transformational part of your ritual. It's where many women sabotage themselves without realizing it. It's where the emotional momentum of your day gets either recycled or rewritten. Because here's what most don't understand. You don't dream about reality. You dream about what you emotionally believe to be true. If you go to sleep thinking, I'm behind, I failed, I wasn't enough today, your dreams will echo that identity. Your subconscious will digest those words as if they were the only story available. And you will wake up feeling like a woman who has already lost before the day even begins. But what if, instead, you whispered a new story? What if in the final 3 minutes before sleep, you told your soul what to dream about, what to believe in, what kind of woman you're ready to become? This isn't escapism. It's authorship. It's neurological intention. It's soul reclamation. Here's the science behind the spell. Studies show that the brain does not distinguish between real memory and vividly imagined experience, especially when accompanied by strong emotion. This means if you feel a new truth deeply enough, your brain will encode it as reality. Not someday, but now. Tonight, you have a choice. You can fall asleep with regret or with reverence. You can replay old loops or write a line your dreams will carry. And in that line, a new self will be born. What you say to yourself before sleep is the seed from which your soul will bloom. You don't fall asleep as a blank slate. You fall asleep carrying the stories you whispered all day long, especially the ones you never said out loud. I failed today. I'm falling behind. No one sees me. I should have done more. And though the world may never hear them, your soul does, and so does your subconscious. Because sleep is not silence, it's storytelling. And what you emotionally believe before bed becomes the script of your dreams. Many women don't realize they're not falling asleep. They're collapsing under invisible stories. You might think it's exhaustion, but often it's emotional weight. You fall into bed thinking, I wasn't good enough today. But that's not the truth. That's a narrative, shaped by old beliefs, perfectionism, or pain. And here's the danger. Your subconscious doesn't challenge it. It accepts it, embraces it, and carries it like sacred instruction into your dreamscape. Science confirms what mystics have long known. During REM sleep, the brain does not record what happened during your day. It records what you emotionally felt about what happened. Your feelings are the ink, your beliefs are the pen, and your dreams are the pages. This is why trauma repeats. This is why self-doubt lingers. Not because the world keeps hurting you, but because the internal narrator keeps writing it that way. And unless you interrupt her before sleep, she'll write the same chapter tomorrow. This lies your deepest power. The subconscious cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined. If you close your eyes and imagine peace, with real feeling, breath, and presence, your brain encodes that as memory. If you imagine yourself healed, gentle, worthy, whole, your nervous system believes you. And when this ritual is repeated night after night, it becomes who you are. Not a dream, not a hope, a frequency, a lived identity in the bones. This isn't delusion, it's creation. If you don't like the story your soul is dreaming, write her a new one before she closes the book. Every night, a sacred storyteller visits you. You won't hear his voice, you won't see his hands, but he sits by your bed like an ancient scribe, waiting. He listens for your final sentence, your last feeling, the softest belief you didn't say out loud. And with that single line, he begins your next chapter. He is neutral. He doesn't judge. He simply writes what you give him. So tonight, will you give him fear or forgiveness? Will you feed him the voice of the critic or the voice of the woman you are becoming? Because sleep doesn't erase who you are. It magnifies who you believe you are. And if you believe something new, for 3 sacred minutes, your dreams will listen. You live in a world of speed, notifications, lists, noise. One more message, one more worry, one more loop before bed. And then suddenly, it's midnight. Your body is exhausted. Your mind is still sprinting. And your soul? She's been trying to catch up all day. Most women don't fall asleep. They collapse, overstimulated, underheld. And in that collapse, they forget one thing. The soul doesn't want you to be perfect. She just wants you to be present. To go to bed in autopilot is to close the door without locking it. It's leaving the windows open to everything that wounded you today. If your nervous system is still in fight or flight, you don't truly rest. You just disconnect. And every time you scroll until sleep, you tell your brain that distraction is more sacred than integration. But your soul? She doesn't want a perfect ritual. She just wants to be acknowledged before you disappear into the night. "See me," she whispers. "Don't skip me again." Ritual is not religious. It's biological. Studies show that even simple symbolic actions, lighting a candle, breathing consciously, touching your heart, activate the limbic system, the emotional control center of the brain. These gestures send signals of safety, of closure, of sacredness. And in just 3 minutes, a ritual before sleep can lower cortisol, increase melatonin, regulate your mood, signal to your brain, we are safe to let go now. You don't need an hour. You don't need a temple. You just need to stop and let your body know it can exhale, not just physically, but energetically. Ritual works even when you don't believe in it. This is where the modern woman gets stuck. But what if I don't feel anything when I do it? What if it feels silly? What if I'm too tired to mean it? Here's the sacred answer. Ritual is not about belief. It's about energy, about rhythm, about creating space. You don't have to feel something magical the first time, or even the 5th. The effect is cumulative. It builds. Just like brushing your teeth or stretching your legs, the act itself is what shifts you, not how poetic it feels in the moment. Even in numbness, you are changing frequency. Even in resistance, you are reclaiming space. You don't have to feel the magic. You only need to show up for it. Now, close your eyes and feel this image. A woman in ancient robes. She lights a single candle. She sprinkles water on the earth. She places both hands over her chest and bows. She does not speak. She does not explain. She simply offers herself back to the sacred. This woman is not a myth. She lives inside you. Every night, you have the choice to become her. To walk barefoot into your bed like a temple. To let your pillow be the altar where you lay down everything you no longer need. Because your body is not a machine to turn off. It is a temple that deserves to be dimmed, soothed, and honored. And your soul? She is waiting. Not for the perfect ritual, but for the courage to stop, to feel, to begin again. You've made it to the threshold. The veil is thin. The noise has faded. And all that's left is you. Not the version you showed the world, not the mask you wore all day, but the tender, trembling presence beneath it all, longing to be held. This is where we begin, not by fixing, not by performing, but by pausing with devotion. Yes, really, the ritual is not what you do, it's what you dare not do anymore. Don't rush. Don't scroll. Don't abandon yourself again. Just stop. Close your eyes. Take one breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your chest rise, your belly soften. Let your body become honest. Now place one hand on your heart. Feel the pulse, not to control it, but to come home to it. Let this be your temple now. Let these 180 seconds be your sacred doorway. You don't need more time. You need more presence per second. Rewrite your narrative in 3 simple lines. Before you sleep, whisper to yourself or onto the page, What I was today does not define who I will be tomorrow. I am in constant rebirth. I fall asleep with forgiveness and wake with lightness. Say them slowly. Let them echo, not in your mind, in your breath, in your bloodstream, in your soul. These are not affirmations. They are reconfigurations. They are instructions to your unconscious. This is the energy we carry forward now. And when repeated over time, they become the internal voice you wake up to. Choose one line. Let it become a seed. It might be, I allow myself to wake up lighter. I am safe to begin again. My softness is my strength. Now place your hand over your heart. Breathe and whisper it, as if the stars are listening. Say it not to convince, but to invite. Feel its rhythm echo inside you, one night at a time, one breath at a time. Water it gently with presence, and the next time you wake, you may find something new blooming, not in the world, but within. You don't fall asleep to forget. You fall asleep to remember who you really are. Now tell me, before the dreams take you, what truth will your soul carry into the night? Let your answer live in the comments below. Whisper it, claim it, let it echo through you. And tomorrow, you rise with it not as a wish, but as your new vibration.